Welcome to episode 21 now of The Bottom Line. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Syed, and we have another very special episode in store for you guys today. As always, we're going to kick things off with our tech update. We're going to address some of the comments Elon made regarding Bitcoin sustainability. We're going to take a deep dive into the retail earnings that are coming up for this next trading week. We're also going to address the CPI, which came in at over 4%, which is above expectations, which really spooked the market a little bit last week. We're also going to talk about the AT&T merger with Warner Media and Discovery, and we're going to end things off with our stock picks. And Syed actually wanted to deviate a little bit from the stock picks this week. He's going to talk about his crypto picks. So lots in store for you today, and looking forward to this episode. So Syed, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, thanks Deepak. We did have a pretty eventful week, so with the tech update, I do have a few things that I wanted to highlight. To start off, I wanted to talk about a fake Chrome app that's going viral with phishing. So it's basically a new Android malware that's spreading and has already targeted hundreds of thousands of people. It impersonates the Google Chrome app and uses phishing attacks to steal credentials. In addition, the campaign uses a mix of techniques to evade mobile security solutions as well. Not gonna go into too much detail, but essentially it's just sending an SMS, a text, and then it gets customers to pay fees upon a package delivery, and upon clicking a message, it asks them to update the Chrome app. And basically, you're directed to a malicious website where the malicious app, pretending to be an update, gets downloaded to your phone. And subsequently, victims are taken to a phishing page asking to pay a small $1 or $2 amount, which is just an attempt to collect those victims' credit card details. So I thought our viewers it would be beneficial our viewers get updated on that. So don't click on anything that's pretending to be a Google Chrome app. Next up, I wanted to give an update on the pipeline, the U.S. pipeline hack that happened last week. As you may or may not know, it is back up now. They've restarted operations nearly a week after the cyber attack, which forced its shutdown, prompting distribution problems and panic buying that drained supplies at thousands of gas stations. Basically, the Colonial Pipeline initiated the restart of operations last Wednesday, saying in a statement that all lines, including those lateral lines that have been running manually, will return to normal operations. However, there is a catch here, and they say that the company would take several days for deliveries to return to normal. So again, it was a type of a ransomware. The news came as fuel shortages were taking hold in parts of the U.S. as panic drivers filled up their tanks in response to last week's ransomware attack, right? And pretty much the FBI confirmed that on Monday that the ransomware group responsible for the compromise of the pipeline network that supplies petrochemicals to the northeastern U.S.'s dark side, were an experienced collective of cyber criminals who have cracked scores of companies in the U.S. and Europe. So they have a history. Just a little update on that. Hopefully they can get full operations running soon and avoid this in the future. Next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about crypto scams going on. So as we always talk about here at the Bottom Line, we talk about wallets, right? Mostly we talk about hard wallets, but this one's about software wallets. And this is why I try to deviate from software wallets, because they can be hit by scams. So in this news that developed May 12th, the Trust Wallet, which is a popular software wallet that you can use for free and many beginners leverage towards it, and MetaMask, which is a Ethereum-based wallet. So you can store all your cryptocurrencies on there, and like any tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, right? But anyhow, they're being targeted. These two wallets are being targeted by new support scam. So what's happening is that these wallet users are targeting an ongoing and aggressive Twitter phishing attacks to steal cryptocurrency funds. So MetaMask and Trust Wallet, as I mentioned before, are apps that let you create wallets to store, buy, and send and receive cryptocurrencies and also NFTs. So that's one to be noted, because NFTs were hot, and I believe they're going to continue to rise, right? But I'll get more into NFTs later with my coin pick. But more on this. So when the users basically launch the MetaMask or Trust Wallet apps for the first time, the app prompts them to create a new wallet, right? And as a part of this process, the app will show a recovery phase consisting of 12 words, which you obviously don't want to lose, right? Because that's your root key, right? And basically you got to save them. So what essentially happens is that the app uses recovery phrase to create a private keys, right, necessary to access your wallet. Anyone who has this recovery phrase can import your wallet and use the cryptocurrency funds stored in it, right? And basically, scammers try to steal this private key. That's what's trying to go on in this phishing scam. They create a fake technical support form, and basically they social engineer your private keys out of you, or this phrase out of you, this root key out of you. Um, so again, this is why education is important here, right? Because you never ever want to let go of your private keys, and this is why we also here on this channel talk about getting hard wallets instead, right? Like the Ledger Nano X or the Treasure hard wallet as well. And there's also Keep Pass as well, which is a Keep Key, sorry, as well. That's a great hard wallet to look into. But yeah, we'll get more into that as in the future and also on our social media. But thought I would let our viewers know about this phishing scam that's been going on with Trust Wallet. Next up, I wanted to talk about a company in Asia called AXA. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but AXA, basically their division in Asia, that got hit by a ransomware cyber attack. And that was just today, actually, on Sunday, Sunday, May 16, 2021, at around noon. So 12:15. 12:25 p.m. Eastern time. So what exactly happened was that, like, today, they said that one of their businesses in Asia was hit by a ransomware attack, adding that it was investigating after some data processed in Thailand was accessed, basically. So the group said that the cyber attack had targeted its Asia Assistance Division, impacting IT operations in Thailand, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. So that's a majority of their Asia division, right? So major news developing there. Basically, and I'm quoting from this article, that as a result, certain data processed by Inter Partners Asia, so IPA, it's a company in Thailand, has been accessed, and it's unauthorized access, of course. The Paris-based company said this, adding that it would notify corporate clients and individuals if it found they had been affected. The Financial Times earlier reported the attack, adding that it came after cyber criminals were using ransomware. So again, ransomware again, a common theme here. We saw this with the cyber pipeline, the gas pipeline with that cyber attack, and now here. But again, ransomware was used, and it's called Abaddon. This ransomware. Not going to get into too much depth of what that is, but it's a type of ransomware, right? And basically, they hacked the group's Asia operations and stole 3 terabytes of data, and basically posted it in the dark web. On the dark web. So yeah, developing story here. I'll update our viewers. I'll update all of you next week in next week's tech update with any developing stories, or I'll just post on social media if any update comes up that's major regarding this. But yeah, great, like something to look out for there. And then lastly, I wanted to end off this week's tech update to talk about Ireland's healthcare systems, which got booted offline following a ransomware attack. Again, ransomware is a major theme this week. As is always is, there's always ransomware, phishing, etc. But what happened in Ireland was basically their healthcare system, as I mentioned, is subject to a ransomware attack, which has led to its taking its IT systems offline and the cancellation of a number of hospital appointments. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it how badly Ireland is dealing with COVID right now, but this could be like a major implication to their COVID recovery, right? But yeah, something to look into there. But more on the attack. So basically, the body responsible for the provision of health and personal social services for everyone living in Ireland revealed that the ongoing incident in a tweet this morning. So it was from a few days ago, I believe, to Thursday. This article came out, and they've taken the precaution of shutting down all their IT systems, right? Because they believe that there's a unauthorized access going on. So they said that they would shut it down. And basically, there is a line in this article that talks about COVID-19, and they're like, the organization stressed that COVID-19 vaccination services are not affected and will continue as normal, as will the operations of Ireland's national ambulance services. That's a really good news there, as this ransomware attack hasn't impacted COVID as I initially thought it would. But however, as a result of the attack, maternity care provider Rotunda Hospital in Dublin announced that it has canceled all outpatient visits today, except for those who are 30 weeks pregnant or later. So just something to look into. Once again, I'll provide more updates on this, like how the ransomware happened, who the attackers were, and if their systems are back online next week. So yeah, this was my tech update for this week, and we'll talk more about these developments and more next week.
On to the next segment. It's an interesting one because earlier this week, Elon Musk put out a tweet, Tesla and Bitcoin. So I'll read it out loud for our viewers. He stated that Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We're also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. He also mentioned later on, I think the following day, that to be clear, I strongly believe in crypto, but it can't drive a massive increase in fossil fuel use, especially coal. And he also mentioned that he's working with Doge developers to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising. So, with that being said, there's a lot of criticism that he faced for one manipulating the price of Bitcoin and Dogecoin, which I don't know if there's necessarily manipulation per se, but I think with Doge, like you did see Doge moving quite a bit in response to Elon's tweets. And Bitcoin obviously took a significant hit over the last few days, and Ethereum actually followed suit because Ethereum is known to have the same problems as Bitcoin with regards to sustainability, right? And that's what Ethereum's working on with Ether 2.0 is to build a more sophisticated blockchain that doesn't require as much energy usage per transaction. But like I said, I wanted this segment to be a little bit more of an open forum, an open discussion. Like I wanted to maybe start things off with what are your thoughts on these tweets, and what do you think is going on behind the scenes here?
So at the end of the day, I think he loves Dogecoin. I don't know if that's because he likes what they're doing, or it's just for him trolling, because he is known to troll, right? But at the end of the day, I think what's going on in his mind, and I could be wrong here, but just my opinion, he's eventually going to end up creating his own cryptocurrency. Like Doge is good. He's gonna work with Doge. He's gonna work with Doge developers and all that. We'll see where that goes. I mean, it does. I've seen a lot of reports that have positive feedback on this. Like it could, like Doge could be the blockchain that they use for their transactions. Tesla does, that is. But I think at the end of the day, I think I see him making his own coin or his own token. He's probably gonna leverage one of those tokens on the Ethereum network that that have a foundation of using less energy, and maybe partner with them. One that comes to mind is Matic, Polygon Matic. But again, I don't know if he would do that. But again, he could create his own. He knows what he's doing. Um, though again, I wouldn't be surprised either if Doge is the coin of Tesla. Like they said they merged together and form an alliance there. But ideally, I see him creating his own coin, and basically hyping that up and making more profit for Tesla. Um, that's what I think. That was my initial thought on it. And but then there are other coins though that um, that he could leverage as well, right? That are already out there. For example, I was just looking at their energy that Doge and all these coins take, right? So again, referring to a bunch of articles, which we'll leave in the description. But just wanted to let our viewers know of the energy that these coins use, right? So Bitcoin, it's the highest, as we all know. Um, it uses around 114 terawatt hours, and that is a lot um, when it comes to energy, right? Um, that's one of the reasons why he stopped the usage of Bitcoin. But then next on the list is Ethereum, and that's 44 terawatt hours. Now that's significantly lower. Again, I'm not an expert in energy consumption and all that, but like just the difference of between um 114 and the 44 is quite a lot. But now but 44 could be a lot too for him. there's lower ones too. Now there's Doge at 7.8, and that's really low. So like you jump from 114 to 44 to 7.8. Now that's now we're talking, right? Now that, and again, it's Elon's favorite meme crypto, and it's surged in value since the beginning of the year, right? And we saw its market cap rise above 75 billion recently before giving back some gains, right? So wouldn't be surprised, as I said, he merges with Doge, right? But then there's also lower ones, and a lot of reviewers may not know about these, but I'm gonna mention them quickly. There's Bitcoin Cash. Sure, you've seen those on this on your exchange. That's at 3.4 terawatt hours. Basically, it's forked off of Bitcoin, as the name suggests, and it's spinning off as its own token since 2017. It still uses the same secure hash algorithm, which is SHA-256 as its parent, which is great. And its market cap currently hovering around 23 billion. And then there's also lower ones. So there's Litecoin, and we talk about Litecoin as well, right? That's at 3.2 terawatt hours. And this cryptocurrency uses the same script-based algorithm as Dogecoin, and that's a point to be noted there. It uses, but then its TWH is lower, so it's though it's a spin off of Bitcoin, it's lighter and faster than popular Bitcoin. Um, and just a comparison here for our viewers, its annual electricity use is about the same as the island of Jamaica. So just to put it into perspective there.
I mean, those are all great, and obviously there are a lot of alternatives that you would have to choose from here. The thing that really gets to me is the fact that Doge developers actually came out and said that they've been working with Elon since 2019. So it's something that's been in the works. That he's saying that he's going to start working with them, but he actually has been working with them for the last few years now.
Mm-hmm.
And the other point that was a little bit of a head scratcher to me was the fact that how does someone like him not know about the environmental impact before investing? Because Tesla bought a lot of Bitcoin on his balance sheet, right? And they did some selling, and now he's saying, okay, yeah, we're going to hold it. But you know what? Like, this is one of those instances where you feel that, okay, the higher ups try to manipulate the price a little bit, bring it down, and then buy lower, right? So I'm not suggesting in any way that he's done that, but it's just very curious to me that someone who would purchase that much Bitcoin without understanding how it works, first of all, the environmental impact, and then a few months later turn around and say we're going to stop using it. We're going to keep it, first of all. We're going to keep it for capital appreciation. So it's not like he's selling all of it. He's going to keep it, but you invested all that money into it knowing the impact. And it diverges from Tesla's very mission, which is to provide clean, sustainable energy, right? In terms of vehicle usage and whatever other products they're working on right now. So with that being said, it's just a big head scratcher to me. And like you said, like he could come out with his own, which is very possible, especially because all of these quote unquote shit coins you've seen that have skyrocketed. I'm sure if Elon comes out with one of his own, they'll take off the next day. But like, yeah, like there's a lot of other alternatives out there, which I don't know why, if he was geared towards sustainability, why he wouldn't come out and invest in those right off the bat rather than going with Bitcoin. But I mean, I think eventually it'll unravel and we'll figure out what the plan was. But I think there might be a little more than meets the eye here, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
that entire situation was bizarre. I still think Bitcoin's going to continue to tread higher over a long-term higher time horizon, but it's just interesting to see how Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all these market leaders in that space have been affected by what one person has to say, right? So that's just
Powerful
an
person
example.
then.
Exactly, that's just an example of how quickly sentiment can shift, right? So a lot of our viewers, especially the new ones, ask whether they should jump into cryptocurrencies, and we always make the disclaimer that hey, we're not financial advisors, first of all, and two, to be aware of the fact that cryptocurrencies in general are very volatile and they're very susceptible to changes in consumer preferences led by celebrities, right? So celebrity endorsement has a lot of influence on retail investors, and you can see it, right? So
Yeah, and we
just
saw
many things
this.
to keep in mind.
Yeah, and we saw this starting off with GameStop, right? We started in the stock market, GameStop and the AMC, right? And then they moved to Doge, right? So yeah, again, like one person can influence crypto, and crypto is decentralized too, so it's easier to manipulate, right? Um, with that being said, though, yeah, I do agree with you 100%, Deepak. All of a sudden him calling Bitcoin bad for the environment, which technically it is, sure, but I feel like it's kind of a scapegoat for something else behind the scenes. And the fact that he's still holding on to it, it's just kind of fishy, right? With that being said, though, I did have three more coins that I wanted to mention that are lower. So just gonna go over them quickly. So we left off at Litecoin, right? That was 3.2 TWH. There's also Ethereum Classic, which is at 1.7 TWH, and basically it's the original history of Ethereum, right? And basically its annual electricity consumption is approximately the same size as the island of the Bahamas. So just a comparison there. And then we have Monero, which is at 1 TWH. And again, for our viewers that don't know what Monero is, it's a privacy-focused cryptocurrency, uses proof of work with the random X algorithm, and generally runs on graphics processing units. Every year, it uses about as much as power as Benin, which is a country. There's other ones that use less than one. Quickly going to name them: Bitcoin SV, ticker BSV dash, and Zcash, and they use less than 1 TWH. And with all these with these coins all clocking annually at 1 TWH, the figures are increasing quickly as crypto prices rise, and the miners are seeing big incentives to use more power. So power has a lot to do with how much is being mined too, right? Keep in mind of that. Just because these coins are less than one or like really low, it means that there's not a lot of demand for them, so they're not getting mined as much, right? So that's something to keep in mind too with these numbers. But with that being said, keep an eye on these coins and see where they go, like the prices and stuff, because they could manipulate, especially with this news coming out for being environmentally friendly, right? So yeah, I thought I would let our viewers know about that when it comes to this news developing with Elon and Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, that's great. And like I said, there's many choices out there if you are looking at cryptocurrencies. I think sustainability is the future, so it's always a good idea to be aware of them. I'm sure that Ethereum is already working on it. Bitcoin probably will work on it. And there'll be a way to make it more sustainable in the future, right? So just keep an eye on that. We'll see how it progresses. But again, just be aware, be cautious before investing in cryptocurrency.
So moving on, we're going to talk about we wanted to talk about the AT&T and how about AT&T and how they're in advanced talks to merge with the Warner Media and Discovery, basically, and the deal is expected as soon as tomorrow. So tomorrow being Monday, May 17th. And the deal basically is going to merge Warner Media and Discovery, and the new company will be publicly traded and co-owned by AT&T and Discovery shareholders, and the transaction expected is to be announced as soon as tomorrow. But why does this matter? Why are we telling you this? Well, with this merger, basically, companies such as Netflix and Disney are gonna be they're gonna have competition, real competition. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it short and simple, but they're gonna have competition up there with this merger. So keep an eye out on it. Again, this merger can cause a lot of competition between Netflix and Disney and this new company that's being formed with this merger. So keep an eye out, keep it on your watch list, and we'll keep you updated more as more news develops on this tomorrow and in our next episode. So next week, episode 22.
Absolutely. And I think there's just more and more competition coming in streaming now. So, I mean, Roku's coming, Google's coming. Like, there's
Right.
so many others that are trying to take at least a little bit of a niche in the streaming market. So, I think competition is a good thing. And ultimately, competition is good for the consumer, right? So, we're all going to benefit from it at the end of the day. So,
Absolutely.
good to
I
see
got
these.
forgot to mention Amazon Plus as well. That's up there too, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
Amazon
no,
Day, Prime
again,
Video.
again, it's all good for the consumer, right? So,
Yep,
always like to see these sort of things. So,
yep,
excellent.
yep. Keep an eye out on this.
Moving on to our next segment, we want to briefly just give our viewers an overview of the upcoming trading week with regards to earnings. So, this week is actually heavy on retail earnings. So, just to give a few names here, Tuesday, we're actually going to see reporting from Walmart, Home Depot, and Macy's. Obviously, those are very big companies there. Wednesday, we're going to have Lowe's and Target. Thursday, we're going to have Ralph Lauren, which is a luxury brand, actually reporting. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out, given that everyone's really in lockdown still. And then on Friday, we're going to have Foot Locker reporting. So if Nike's any good benchmark, I think Foot Locker will actually do pretty well. But these are definitely some major companies that we're going to keep an eye on. Syed, have I missed any that you can think of?
Yeah, so in the tech world, there's Cisco that's reporting on Wednesday. Also another retail giant, TJX. So Winners, HomeSense, Marshalls, combined their parent company basically. And then on Thursday we have Palo Alto, and yeah, that's all I can remember for now. But yeah, keep an eye out on next week. There are earnings reports coming out. With that being said, though, I kind of wanted to transition over to how we think the earnings reports are going to do, right? Especially you, Deepak. I wanted to transition it back to you and ask you, like, we've seen earnings report come out the past few weeks, right? In this coming week as well. What do you think, like, the earnings reports are going to be like for next week, or like maybe your thoughts on the earning reports that came out last week, and like how will this impact the market? So maybe you could give your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think the last few weeks have been dominated by the tech sector, and obviously the tech sector itself seemed to be overheated. So despite stellar earnings, they actually sold off. Like Amazon is a prime example of that. Retail stocks have also seen quite a bit of a rise over the last, I'd say, month or two now. So perhaps some of the growth is already priced in, and you might see a similar sell-off. But one thing I wanted to bring to our viewers' attention is the CPI index. So actually, last week they reported the CPI was over 4% higher year over year, and that to me, first of all, it exceeded expectations on Wall Street because they were expecting it to be somewhere in the 3.5, 3.6% range. So it came out higher
Right.
than that. But it got me thinking, like, what could be causing this inflation? And you look back and you see all the supply chain shortages facilitated by the Suez Canal. You see the cost of lumber rising through the roof. Obviously, these hardware companies like Home Depot and Lowe's, a lot of their businesses, like a lot of their products are lumber based, right? So that's gonna, if the cost of that has been rising, I don't know if they've necessarily had enough time to dump that price increase on the consumer per se.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might actually see lower margins on some services that they've committed to beforehand, right? Because even if you look at like a home construction agency, like let's say a home builder, right? One of these big companies that we have, like Mattamy Homes, for example, right? So you buy a home in, let's say, 2019, and they have to give it to you in like 2021 in this current environment with the cost of lumber going up. I don't even know, like insane amounts, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
like, obviously, they don't have the ability to dump it back on the consumer. They actually have to respect that contract, and they're going to lower their margins. So,
Mm.
I think something similar to that, especially on the retail side as well, when the materials cost has gone up and they don't have enough time to actually dump it on the consumer, that's going to affect their bottom line at the end of the day, right? So,
Right.
so that's something that I think could spook the market a little bit. Inflation fears already spooked them last week. Um, I think if you actually see big retailers report earnings below expectations, that might spook the market again. And
Right.
even if they do see some growth, I think modest growth has already been priced in. So that'll actually be underwhelming to the market. So I don't necessarily think the retail stocks are a great buy this week. But again, if they do somehow manage to blow out of expectations, then obviously you'll see a rise. But again, I think it might be a similar situation to tech over the last few weeks where it sold off after earnings.
Right. Okay. How so I guess the same applies to Cisco and Palo Alto, right? So like what you mentioned for tech stocks, right? Because
I mean, like tech earnings have been great. It's just they've already been priced in, it seems. So that's why there was a significant sell off. Obviously, I don't think like retailers like Nordstrom, for example, have run up to the same extent. But obviously, they have been impacted by the supply chain shortages, which is causing, which is impacting their margins, right? So it'll be interesting to see definitely how they've been able to react and what their future outlook is. So definitely going to keep an eye on them regardless. But in terms of day trading or week trading, I tend to stay away from retail stocks for this week.
absolutely. So yeah, keep an eye out on these stocks, and we'll provide an update for them throughout the week or next week during episode 22.
Moving on to the last segment for this week's episode, we want to recap our stock picks from last week as well as provide picks for the upcoming week. So for last week, I actually recommended Penn National Gaming, which over the 5 day, the sell-off continued in the market. We actually opened the week at around 85.50 and closed the week off at just over $80, so $80.80. However, we actually dipped to below 75. Actually, on Thursday at one point we were at 74 bucks. So overall for the week, we still lost about 5.5%. But Friday was a good day. Actually, we recovered 6% upward movement. So it gained about $4.71 a share, which is a welcome sight for everyone who's an investor in this. Again, my long-term outlook on this is very bullish. And I think once the shakeout period is over in these types of stocks, that we'll see some significant gains. So hopefully the upward trend continues with that. So Syed, you want to recap your picks?
Yeah, sounds good. Just like your pick, Deepak, my pick last week is a long-term hold, and that's Google's parent company called Alphabet. And I recommend this to our viewers because I'm sure everyone knows about Google and Alphabet, right? But one of the reasons I recommended this pick was because of Google Cloud. And like I mentioned before, right? This isn't like a weekly pick. As you can see, it's up 2.21%. As the during the week it had a low of 2,200, but it rolls back up, and this is trading. I wouldn't be surprised if Alphabet goes through a stock split as well, just so they can offer a lower buying price, right, for new investors. But with that being said, I don't really look at the weekly charts for Alphabet. I look at long term potential. And just over, like, if you just look at their yearly, right, it was at around 1,000, 1.3k, and now it's all the way up to 2.2k, right? So just looking at the long term goals and with the emergence of Google Cloud, and like I mentioned before, right, cloud's always going to be around, even in the future with technology. So, and Google Cloud is up there, obviously, with AWS and Azure, right? um so that's why I recommend this stock. So yeah, keep this on your watch list for the long term, not only for this week, but for the foreseeable future. Next one that I mentioned to our viewers last week was Juniper Networks (INC). And if for those of you that don't remember, this is basically a rival company, or like a runner-up company. I don't know if they're rivals yet, but they do have potential. But they're to Cisco, basically the networking company. And it's again, looking at its charts, it did have a low of 27.10 right here on Monday, and then it dipped a little bit lower on Thursday as well to around 25 bucks, and then it went up a little, and then it closed off at about 26.58. So again, this company has a lot of potential too, because if you look at its 1 year chart, right, like a year ago it was at 23.26, and right now it's at 26.58, right? But with again, everyone uses the internet. Everybody is leveraging the internet, and Cisco is up there as well. But I feel like in the long run, so maybe like a few years down the line, you can make profit off this stock. I'm really bullish on this, even though the 1 year chart really hasn't seen significant growth. Just keeping in mind that the internet and networking is a huge aspect in today's day-to-day life, right? I would definitely keep the stock on your watch list for the long term, of course. And now moving on to our stock picks for this coming week. So Deepak, back to you.
That because of our earlier discussion on renewable energy with cryptocurrencies, I thought this week it'll be a good theme just to pick some renewable stocks. So Brookfield is obviously one of the big players in this game. Brookfield Renewable Partners is another long-term hold that I've been looking at. Ticker BEP on the TSX. So over the last 5 days, um, it opened the week at around $45.16, closed the week at 43.94. So it was down about 2.7% for the week. Um, However, I think given the sell off that you've seen in this stock over the last 6 months, back in January, it peaked at around $63 Canadian, went all the way down to about $42, $43 where it's sitting at now. So that's about a 33% correction. And on a company like this, like you can't go wrong investing in this. So this is a good long term hold, and I'm holding strong on this one. The other one I wanted to actually mention is Canadian Solar, which is not as big a name as Brookfield, obviously, but again, given the trend towards renewable energy, solar is obviously a big player in that. I'll quickly recap the last 5 days. Opened the week around 39.47, closed the week about 36.62. So it was down about 7%, which is quite significant. However, if you look and zoom out, it was a $60 stock at one point in February. So we're almost close to 50% correction on this. And obviously, I think it has a lot of long term potential. So definitely keep it on your watch list. Again, these stocks aren't necessarily week or 2 week or even month long holds. Like you want to hold them for a long enough time frame where you can actually see sizable growth. So obviously, I think now is the time to invest in renewable energy, and hopefully we can reap the rewards as long term holders.
Absolutely, yeah. Renewable energy is the future, and yeah. So keep these stocks on your watch list, not only for this week, but the foreseeable future, as we mentioned. So for this week, for my picks, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I'm gonna move towards the crypto, as I didn't really find any interesting stocks that our viewers would be interested in. So I thought, why not look at a cryptocurrency, a token that a project that I've read into, and perhaps our viewers would be interested. And the community that this coin, so it's called Engine, basically the community it's trying to target is gamers. And basically, it's an Ethereum based cryptocurrency used to directly back the value of next gen NFTs. Again, we saw the hype of NFTs back a few months ago, right? They're not going anywhere. May have cooled down now a little, but they're not going anywhere for the future, right? So this is why I wanted to mention this to our viewers. So basically, just gonna go over what they're all about. This is from their website, of course, so be sure to check that out. But consumer trust: owners can melt their NFTs back into ENG, increasing confidence in the assets and faith in the projects that offer them. Certified authenticity basically provides origin and or guarantees that compatibility with the engine ecosystem. Real world value: the perceived value of NFTs is directly correlated with their ENG backing, making ENG an effective gold standard. And then there's also asset scarcity, tangibility, and anti-inflation, which you can always read on your own. Once again, I'll put the website in the description. Their Check out their website. And yeah, it's on the Ethereum blockchain. Just wanted to let our viewers know about more about the coin. So it basically, like I mentioned, offers an ecosystem of integrated products that make it easy for everyone to develop, trade, monetize, and market with the blockchain. And their target audience is the gamers, the gaming community, right? So if you're a gamer, definitely keep an eye out on this. Basically, a little history here, which you can read on your own, but I'm just gonna go over it in a bit. So it was launched. So Engine launched the Engine Network back in 2009, which is a gaming community platform which boasts over 20 million users, and I'm sure our gamers out here know that. And then in 2017, following a successful ICO that raised 18.9 million, Engine began building a suite of blockchain products that enable anyone to easily manage, explore, and distribute and integrate blockchain assets. And then basically the token is the digital asset, that's used to directly back the value of blockchain assets created with the Engine platform. It's built on the Ethereum network, as I mentioned before, and this coin is available on Coinbase, so that's the best way to get it. Keep in mind though, the gas prices are pretty high though if you're trying to transfer it back to a wallet. So if you're trying to like make a quick trade or a quick swing, then I wouldn't recommend transferring it into your wallet. Just keep it on the exchange for a bit, make your trade, and then take your profit out. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind with these coins. But let's take a look at more of its website right here. So again, these docs you can refer to more about the project. Feel free to read about these and ask any questions if you have any. And then lastly, I wanted to say the chart. So because this is what everybody cares about, right? The price. So as you can see right here in April, it had like a pretty much an all time high of $3, nearly $3.45 per coin, right? But recently it has dipped to around $2.05. And in my opinion, and again, not financial advice, instead of investing into coins like SafeMoon or Shiba Inu or any of those quote unquote shit coins, right? look into something like this. Look into a project that has potential, and then go from there, right? That's what I personally think is the best way to do, instead of gambling your money into something that has no foundation. Um, and this coin is one of them, right? That I wanted to show our viewers. All right, so that wraps up weekly episode 21. As always, we hope the information we provided to you was helpful. And if it was helpful, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to follow us on social media, as we do provide updates there as well on our TikTok and Instagram. With that being said, I myself, Syed, and my co-host Deepak would like to thank you for tuning in, watching, or streaming, however you were tuned in. And we will see you guys next week for weekly episode 22. Take care, everybody. Thank you.